Good afternoon. Welcome to Risk Neutral Trading Globex edition. I have to get used to this Globex stream. The reason for this is I'm doing some investigation here, a little research to see if there is interesting trade opportunities in the Globex opening range breakout and or the Asia or Tokyo opening range breakout. To add to the trading, right? The typical stream is from 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time until 1500 each day, each trading day. And that continues, of course. But what I'm doing now is trying to get some feeling for these additional hours, maybe a little bit quieter, a little less volatile, not so much geopolitical, true social kind of inputs, because I think they're pretty much a little more quiet during this period of time. So let's see what we get. That's the theory here. Now, this is Risk Neutral Trading. It is my virtual trading journal. I have a commitment not to take any trades off the stream to ensure complete transparency and accountability. I trade live via Bookmap and chart and do statistics and back testing with IRT. Now, having said all of that, I'm not licensed to provide trade or financial advice, nor is that my intention. And there's a disclaimer in the description here, so please read that. However, again, it's my trading journal, so, that's why all the trades are included in real time. And if something's triggered tonight, that will be included in the stream. And that's actually why I'm doing these Globex streams, because if I see an opportunity that I want to act on and trade, I'm honoring my commitment to take no trades off the stream. So there we go. Now, let's start with Bookmap. I suppose you know what Bookmap is. And that's this application right here. It's just loading up. It's got some data issues, I guess. First thing let's do is put Blue Boy on the job, which is just a vertical line that I put on the start of each session, and I have done so for a long time. If I scroll back, once this is through loading, I can scroll back and show you each ETH and each RTH session. And the purpose of this is I can scroll left or glance left, and if I see Blue Boy over here on the left side of the screen, and I know that this is the current state of the market and price action, I know that I have the entire session to this, so far in view. And no question in my mind what the context is. I mean, here you go. Perfect example. What do you suppose the context in this global session right now is? Down, continuing the sell-off from today. So there you go. The other platform that I use a lot is IRT, or Investor RT. It's more of a conventional charting platform. And I'll talk about that as we go along. But basically, the one thing that's important on IRT, any window, notice the header is the instrument, the chart type, periodicity, and the session. This, by the way, the ES is going to expire on the 18th, which is next month. That's this contract, or next week, which is this contract. So we'll go from M to N, I think it is. I don't know. And this particular tab is the minis. So this is the mini ES NQ, mini ES micro composite, and this is the ES market profile. And they are all on the full session. I've changed from RTH to the full session in anticipation of this open. This is the micro column, same exact story, but micros. And that's what I'm trading now, so that's what we're going to be watching here. Notice this, though. Notice where the micros opened right here at the low and continued down. Okay, same story. All right. I just want to make sure somehow I had that different in my mind. And this is the micro ES, micro NQ, and the micro ES, micro composite chart. The way this chart works is my higher time frame chart. The way it works is it's RTH session only, micro ES, daily candlesticks, RTH session only. So each one of these is an RTH session. This is the RTH session which just closed. There's yesterday, Monday, Friday, etc. Wherever volume, wherever the price overlaps, I continue to pull this volume profile around them, and that generates a micro composite VPOC. These high and low volume nodes, which are represented by the red and green lines here, they're just the high and the low nodes of this volume profile. The values for these red and green lines pushed automatically to Bookmap, as do the session prices. Now, one thing to note about the market profile, I do not change between micro and mini. They're always the minis, but I do change between Globex and RTH session. Okie dokie, smoky. So here are the columns on Bookmap, and this is the micro composite column where I manually enter values. These are the high and low volume nodes, which will be pushed here and are here somewhere. There you go. There's all you want to see. And then this is the volume profile for the full session, which started plotting tonight at 5 o'clock just now, 1700. This is RTH volume and delta. That'll reset tomorrow morning at 08:30. The statistics column, which is we established the statistic open for the day in the pre-market at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we determine the statistics for the associated prices at tomorrow, during the pre-market, and so they won't be changed tonight. These are the session prices, which push automatically from IRT to Bookmap. And here is the book. There's no dome here anymore because it was too many columns and too much real estate. This is the most important column in the dome. This is the resting liquidity. These are the level 2 prices at every level, and the graphic representation. And these are the prices, and that's the way it works. There's no indicators on either my Bookmap or IRT because I believe in keeping it real simple and using volume, price action, prices, and probabilities, i.e. statistics. That's it. So over here, you'll see a VWAP, which is a Globex VWAP, volume weighted average price. You see a Globex POC, which is just the marker at the point, the price at which the most contracts have traded so far in the session. So far, the most contracts have traded at 72.50 right here. The second one of these other prices trades one more contract, this yellow line will move there. And there is also POC and the globe and a VWAP for the RTH, and there's a mid. And then the session price lines here. It's really that simple. So we have Blue Boy on the job. We see what we're getting with the prices down. This real common to see this kind of phenomenon or behavior. Traded up a little bit today, and we sold off the rest of the day. Right down here at the bottom when we closed. What happens? Well, we opened and continue selling. The market wasn't done doing what they were doing. more business below. That's the way I look at it. And in a minute, we'll get into the, I hope I had that on the right window when I was going over Bookmap. I hope so. Anyway, we'll get into the statistics and how I do the opening range breakouts and plot them and all kinds of stuff here in a little bit. Let me make sure everything's working okay and my tea glass is full and, you know. I only have a break between 1 hour between the, you know, just a handover from 1600 to 1700. So it's kind of a, I'm not sure how long this stream will last in terms of days. As I said, it's an experiment to investigate whether there's interesting trade opportunities in this time frame. So first thing we need to do for a volume point of view, first thing we need to do is pay attention to what we've got going on here. And we have basically, what's going on here? Okay. That's every tick. Typically, I like these on a dot, you know, on 1 point, but in order, there's something else that's pretty important here. In order to trade with Bookmap, you need to activate the trade control panel by clicking this padlock and then choosing an account that you're going to be trading on. In this case, I have these Lucid accounts because that is the way I'm down risking or de-risking from my live amp account to investigate these evening periods and this new strategy for trade management. So what I want to do now is make sure that I have the correct statistics selected for the journal, which is, I've never even gone here, but I want to have the data go to the right place. And we're going to select multi-account trading because that's what we're doing. When I take one trade here on Bookmap, it's going to push to the 4 other Lucid accounts. That's the way you can compound these evaluation accounts and maximize your return on investment, de-risking, and still have the opportunity for meaningful payouts in the meantime. You know, so it's not just like a sim account. It's not just like practice or whatever you want to call it. And I'll also put in the amount of contracts, which are 5. Then I can close this because I have these statistics visible here at the top. You can turn these off or on. When I click that and I've selected an account, I get my real estate back here and I have cancel or close or cancel and close up above. So I have all the tools I need for trading. Now, the next thing I need to activate or flesh out here the same way is the hedge side of this idea. And that is the mini. Same story. Padlock. Choose an account. Same one. One contract. That's the hedge. Close. And here we are. The way the hedge works is, I'll explain later with a tool that I have, but essentially, I would hope that you recognize the ratio is 10 to 1 micros to minis. So when a position is on and we have 10 micros and say short and 1 mini long, that's a direct hedge. Market can go up and down as far as it wants, any direction, and the risk always remains identical. That's the idea. We'll see how it's going to work out. And I'm trying to make sure everything else is working here. I think so. Excuse me. I better turn on some. Well, let's see what we can come up with for a little background music here. Now, we'll talk about, tomorrow's session, but we do have some important news out tomorrow morning at 7:30, so there's some important reports. And of course, we've got the all-powerful continual stream of Iran news, and they're going to screw around and get back to fighting here if they don't stop trying to be whatever. It's I don't know how to explain how I feel about it, but I don't think it's I don't think it's going in a good direction. And on top of inflation and unemployment and supply chain and fuel, it doesn't add up to good, It doesn't add up to a good deal. In my opinion. And I never have anything political to say. But what I do have to say is, as traders today, hey Magic, what's up, dude? Your primary objective in life as a trader is to preserve your account. And the fundamental way to do that is risk management. So if these random geopolitical or, like say Truth Social tweets or something that dump the market 15 or, 20 handles or 50 handles, that's a real dangerous risk to all of our accounts. So it's real important to be on your tippy toes, on your sharpest watch for this kind of risk story. If you want to be a trader. If you don't, well then, that's different. So, Magic Man. Super. Yeah, they came off the close and sold down as expected, yeah. Now, that's not going to, certainly not saying how long they're going to continue that up, but that's kind of always, I've noticed that over the years. It's like it's like the auction never finished. I mean, they're all busy selling, and somebody goes, oh, lunch, and then they all come back and selling. It's they weren't done yet. In other words, so I don't know why there's no liquidity here. This is pretty weird. This heat map is not mapping. I don't know why. Noticed that earlier today. Oh well, the hell with it. I don't care. I don't really use it anyway. All I do is use it for targets, like when I'll see and there's some liquidity. Okay. There's some there. Okay, let's make it 75. Another thing I've noticed lately, which I suppose you might have too, like watch this guy flash up here. But these liquidity levels that are in the book for a long time, they're going and they're tagging them out almost. You can hang your hat on it, It's as predictable as, oh, well, they're going to go up there. And sure as hell, that's what's happening. So I'm trying to find out here if this period and has any interesting opportunities for the opening range breakout trades. That's the purpose of the stream. Yeah, there's a lot of drama happening right now with all of this stuff, and I don't know what Walter Bloomberg's probably in bed, but I don't know what other news you might be looking at, but yeah, it's a mess. And that's one of the reasons I'm trying to investigate this time frame, thinking that there might be less drama, especially from the side over here. I don't know. Iran published earlier this afternoon that they'd been tracking a stealth B-2 bomber out of Spain who had come into the region and shut off its transponders. So that's not exactly good news for the peace talks and a resolution to this thing. I wouldn't think. So where we are now, what I'm going to do here, I think. Okay. Well, there you go. This could turn into a regular cluster then. Thanks. I appreciate that. Where are you getting that news? Just off general news, or do you have a different source? I don't know that Walter Bloomberg's. I don't imagine he's doing anything because he's in Switzerland. Usually it's only mornings. Let's see. Whoops, wrong one. Do you know about Walter Bloomberg? Magic? Yeah, these are old ones. These are old ones. Oh, no, 14 minutes ago. Iran state media says initial reports indicate U.S. ships near Strait of Hormuz targeted by missile and drones launched by Iranian armed forces. That's 14 minutes ago. Now, I can't see both. Oh, I guess I could. Yes, wait a minute. Hold the phone. You've got Walter Bloomberg, right? Yeah, so he's got then crude oil futures jump, 500 S&P 500 fall 0.3%. Iran citing near the airport. Yeah, they're busy. They're busy stirring it up. Yeah, if you don't know about Walter Bloomberg, it is on Twitter. Or, X, I guess. I hate that whole idea. Anyway, look for Walter, next word, Bloomberg, at Delta One. This is a Swiss guy who has a Bloomberg terminal, and anything that comes across the Bloomberg terminal that would have some interest to what we do, he posts in all caps directly from Bloomberg. Okay, so you can check that out. It's free and you don't have to even be, I refuse to be a X guy. Yeah, okay, Delta One, Walter Bloomberg is the name. There you go. Okay, cool. Because that's a good resource. All right, cool. Well, and then we'll just kind of stand by. The POC is jumping around. I'll get going with the normal, the normal data thing and set up how this is going to go. What did this say here? Hold on, I hate that little guy. I don't. Okay. All right. Okay. Now let's get on with what I was doing. This is the hedge setup in the micros or the minis. What I'm going to do now is start looking at putting together this the data for the setup for the opening range. I haven't bothered to code the opening range levels in IRT so that I can push them across to book maps at the moment, like I do all the other levels, you know. So what I'm doing is just using Blue Boy and family over here. There's the opening range high so far. And whoops, that's not even right either. That's not correct either. Edit this drawing. There you go. One thing about Bookmap, the drawing tools are really clunky, or maybe it's just me, but one of us is clunky, whether it's them or me, I don't know which. So there's the opening range high. At the moment, here's the opening range low. And one of the key things to observe about this, to do with the data, is the sequence that these levels were formed. The level formed first, in this case, the opening range high. Need to remember that because that affects the ending zone percentages, and also the second to form level, in other words, the initial balance low down here, or the opening range low, is by statistics the most likely to be breached with a single breakout. By the statistics. This week, several instances where it has gone the other way. So there you go. Here's this liquidity up here at 64.5. I'm sure they're going to go up and smack that thing in the head. And to do with this, you know, with this, the opening range high and low and their relationships, obviously that can change. If price comes up here and pushes the opening range higher before the opening range 1 hour period has passed, well, then obviously the low was formed first, you know, so that's how she goes. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I have only just found out about it about a month ago. Yeah, what a great deal. You know, the Bloomberg terminal is about 32 grand a year. It's up like $2,700 a month. Anybody can get one, but it costs about $2,700 a month. So for him to have that and somehow apparently not get any crap from Bloomberg and post those is really pretty damn great. Cool. Well, I'm glad you know. I'm just probably the last person to find out, maybe. So we are not just approaching the first 30 minutes. Obviously, it's not the first 1 hour. So let's get over here and look at, first of all, trading view so I can get that set up. So here are now I need to change the dashboards around. Where'd it go? There it is. Need to change the dashboard from the IB and set it up for the first, the Asia, or Globex down here. And as you probably already know, this will be showing the size of the opening range and what formed first and all those things. And here we are. I don't know how to do this program worth two hoots in hell, but anyway, here we go. Okay, so that's got that, so it's easy to visualize. There'd be an easy way to do that, but I guess not. And let's look for the data. Now, this was from today, so we're going to change all of this around to the opening range. Breakout. There we go. So, here's Wednesday, but this is for Thursday's data. So we need to be looking at that one. And we need to change the session down here. Now this is where I'm still struggling here, but bear with me. I've put in a ticket to those guys. No, that's because it doesn't work on the weekdays. Yeah. If I want to customize this, I can. Wait a second here. It worked before. Weekday. Should get data up here. Maybe not. I'd have to jump over here. What I'm trying to do with this session is I want to find the specific data applicable to the Globex session, which is from 5 p.m. to 7. He doesn't have them in military time, so 1700 to 1900. I'm not interested in, well, I am eventually tonight, but I'm not interested in what happened from 1700 tonight to 8:30 in the morning. You know, that's well into not only Asia, but also London. So I was trying to make these specific, and I'm not having much luck doing that. This is just Asia. This is only Asia, so it doesn't include the time we're watching now. How to use this one too. I'm still trying to figure this out. Only these time frames around because we're actually looking at tomorrow's data. So this can't be right because this is only Tokyo. What I want to do is, damn it, Janet. This ought to be the one, but it's just not working out. The data's not there. There's not enough data for it to search by days. It's still got the wrong days, I guess. Yeah, really. And all the other services they provide. Boy, this is irritating. See what this one does. No, that's the wrong time frames though. That's 7 and 9. Yeah, maybe. Well, okay, let's call that one it. So there's a 23% probability will break out. Breakdown is 38%. No double breaks, and a 38% will go either way. It's so great. It's basically a big nothing. Let's get over here back to Chicago and do the buy rejection beauty because it works, but not much. This is not not getting me the data I want here. Ah, the ending zones. I got to clean up these, customize, get the ending zone out of the 50 to 75. We're looking at Thursday. Okay, there we go. Now, if the opening range break high, form first, this is the expected statistics for the first break. If the low is formed first, this is the expected statistic based on this 2-hour period. And we still have the high formed first so far. The high, the low, first, second. So real easy. And then we have the zones, and that's to do with the retracements. The theory here is, see if we get everything came across right. Yeah. The theory here is that assuming the opening breakout means long, breakdown means short. In this terminology of this app, if we break out, meaning we take the initial balance high first, which would be opposite the conventional thinking, because the initial balance high was formed first, opening range high was formed first, and that means the opening range low would be suspected to be this first one. So the breakdown is first, then we'd expect a 47% probability that we'll retrace to the 25% level, and a 23% we'd retrace to 50. So that means we look at something that works over here. Let's see. This is my handy dandy little, no, that's not really going to do us any good. Never mind. Let's go back to, this one's the easiest. The high was put in first. If we break the low first, there's a 47% probability we're going to retrace to the 25, and whatever it was, 50 something to the, or 30 something, 38 to the 50. These are 50, 25, 50, and this is 25 from the top, or if you want, 75%. The closing zones are assigned based on the closing price at the end of the opening range period, which will be 1 hour. So basically, it's been, we got 20 minutes to go to see what happens. And I'm still not convinced we're not going to take another, we're not going to poke the high, which will flip all this data I'm talking about on its head. It'll all be reversed. So I'm just kind of standing here trying to figure out what to do next. The edgeful fellas that trade this thing, and where I thought, that sounds interesting. Pretty much consistently making money every day, but they're trading the NQ, and also not just the NQ. They're always trading the Qs or Spider or SPY, which I don't do at all and don't even have access to as far as my accounts. But I mean, obviously you can do that. As far as I'm concerned, the Qs are just the same, just another version of the NASDAQ. There's the Qs. Same exact thing as here. The price is just way different. So I also assume because of the different price, there's probably a difference in the tick value. Here's a question that I don't know. Ooh, I don't think so. I see right now one of the problems. Oh, I got it. They don't trade in ticks. They trade in pennies. Yeah, well, so I'm going to have to just forge this data on my own. Well, they trade on with either Trade-Evade or execute on Trade-Evade or execute on TradingView. It's the one guy named Zinc. Mr. Zinc has a pretty goofy name, but oh, here we go. So we've taken out the IB high. So now we have just changed the dynamic of the data. I can find it. There we go. We've just changed the data. So the initial balance or the opening range high has just been exceeded within the period, but you know, it's not a statistic yet. So that means that the opening range low is now formed first. So that'll change all of those stats around now that I've been monkeying with. And you can see what a good monkeyer I am. There we go. So now the low is formed first. The expected takeout would be the high. That looks a little more normal. And let's see what's going on over here. So now we have the opening range low is formed first. And not the right window here, but you can get the point in a minute. There we go. The low is formed first, so the first break, the highest probability is 74% for the opening range high. Given Thursday, this session, and I haven't set the closing zone yet. Yeah, I do. Yeah. He's one of the guys that is kind of a stream guy for Edgeful, which is this data outfit. I'd never heard of him before that. I've heard of Andre a long time ago with Edgeful and stuff, but I'd never heard of the Zinc guy. Seems to do, seems to get lots of payouts, and he knows all the ins and outs and ups and downs of all this different prop accounts. And a lot of confusing stuff as far as I'm concerned, but does know, is a front man, I guess you could say, on the stream kind of thing for Edgeful. So he's doing a lot of data stuff, and I try to, one of the things I was trying to find out from, or look at actually on trading on this upper monitor up here just before this stream started. Yeah. I want to try to see what session he's using, on my big monitor up there. I got no idea. I'm assuming that Andre wouldn't have somebody, kind of representing and showcasing or test driving or whatever the data for Edgeful that was a complete screw loose, because Andre is doing a real bang up job with Edgeful and is, I would imagine, making a buttload of money with it. There was something that had to do with news. Look at that. I've heard that Zinc say a few things that I know were wrong, and he says them with conviction. And I almost thought about, I never listened to the live stream. I just listened to something on YouTube to make some comment. You need to, politely, I think you misunderstood that, you misstated that fact because whatever it was, because it's bad. It's a bad deal if somebody's putting out answering questions like they are the authority and saying the wrong answer, I think. But then again, it's none of my business either. So I haven't ever done that. Well, they're flashing 54s a lot. Did somebody blow somebody up or something? Crazy shit. You know, this whole Middle East drama that's going on. I have to keep reminding myself that 4 months ago, well, I have to also keep reminding myself how long it's been dragging on. 4 months ago, there was no problem in the Strait of Hormuz or in the Middle East. I mean, there's been the ongoing Hezbollah, Israel story, you know, but this big thing that we have there now was not a thing. I have to keep reminding myself of that because it's like, you know, yeah, that's pretty important. So that's, you know, kind of like a guy, you know, somebody lights a building on fire and then puts it out and wants to get a medal because they're a firefighter. I mean, it's kind of, I think that's where it's going. 68 half is flashing. And these are not flashing, right? But obviously what this is they're adding and stacking on the book right around the level that I've got set for this thing. But it is, I do kind of notice that. And it seems pretty funny that lately it's been real coincidental that price will just go zooming up and grab one of them. I'd actually heard a conspiracy at one point in time long ago that there was some sort of somebody had figured out there was some sort of mystical, you know, secret code that the algorithms were talking to each other, you know, and it would flash some certain sequence of flashes at a price or a price level, and then the other ones would know to do something. I mean, it's like, holy crap, dude. Get out of your grandma's basement and put your pants on, you know? But these things that flash like that do catch my attention, and I appreciate that. And I would bet money before this session's over with that we're going to get past 68 half. Be my guess. Of course, as you are very well know, but for the sake of the stream, this thing could go out the bottom of the monitor in a heartbeat if some goofy crap comes across the wire, right? Well, 10 minutes for the ORB to set. At that point, I guess I better get going here with the statistics and all of that stuff. So here's what I'm going to do next. Since I'm a lazy little pig and I haven't done my gotten that code put together, I've cooked up a little quick deal here on my hedge in my toolbox over here. So let's see, we got 66.75, huh? And the low is at this moment 46.75. So these are the levels. Is that right? Is there 120? Oh, no. We need to get a 2 over here. Okay, I was going, oh, wait a minute. There we go. That's a little better. So we only have a 20-point opening range so far. And here's my level, 72, 61, 75. What I'm doing now is pulling these percentage levels, so I've got the zones over here to bookmap, and I'm just drawing horizontal lines on them because I haven't got that code pushing, and I'm not sure that I ever will. But if this turns out interesting, yeah, 72, 56, 75. That's the 50. And 151.75. Okay, so ORB high, 25, 50, 75 below. Or the way I like to look at them is 25 off the low, 25 off the top, and 50 in the middle. Right now, we have about 10 minutes to go. And what a lot of people, the Mr. Zink used to do a lot, I would notice, is front run these zones when it would be down around the 50, leaning on the 75% that we're going to take this high out. I'm not going to do that, but that's what he would do. But now I just saw something where he's come up with a new idea that they're flipping now. If they take a stop, they'll flip the other way, and so there's no more front running on this, according to him, what he's doing. But I will, and something else that I have not watched the stream enough to see, but I don't think they trade live, which just irritates the crap out of me. So, this look back and, oh, this is what I did and I went long here, or replay, and do a bar replay on TradingView or something. I have no use for that. Now, the important thing that's going to happen here pretty quick is the close ending zone percentage, which has a big impact. And how that works is, yeah, you too. Take off, man. Have a great one. Hope you had a good, profitable day. We'll see how this turns out for me. So, the high was put in after the low. The way the zone percentages are assigned is as follows. The lowest percentage is opposite the first ORB level or IB level that's formed. So in this case, it would be 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. And the importance of those is the closing price of the opening range. So the closing price at the end of this first hour, wherever that sits, in this case, it would be the 50 to 75% zone. You see that? That's okay. And that's got a big impact on the statistics. Let's just imagine that this is closed now at 70 and it's in the 75% zone. Well, that's right over here. So that's the last thing we're going to put in. So let's put 50 to 75% right there. Now remember, oops, before we do that, since I'm a donut, let's 74%. 73. No opening low, first break low first, and 74% with the opening range low formed first. Okay, so let's put in our 50 to 75% zone and see what that does for us. Now, looking back 6 months, there is no data. Let's go back a year. Let's go back 2 years. %, straight up. It's a coin toss. Over 2 years of data. That means 104 possible days because there's only, there's 52 Thursdays in a year. I'm going to look at one other thing in case that this is not following my logic, which means that this Globex trade that we're witnessing right now is Thursday's trade. So we should be looking at all Thursdays as far as I'm concerned. Let's just see what happens if we switch it to Wednesday. Just out of curiosity. Oh, big deal, huh? What a big deal. All of a sudden, the most likely is the opening range low. Only 9% probability it'll be the high. Big deal. Big change. Amazing, isn't it? Now, if I had to look at this thing, and let's just look at let's look at real life over here. Here's price. Here's the opening range low. We've got a couple minutes to go. 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes to go. Which one do you think is going to get taken out first, the low or the high? Really irritates me. This is a function, I think, of the opening range, this early one, and this crazy geopolitical drama that's going on. I'm going to leave that, and this is even worse because this means it's going to close in the 75 to 100%. That's going to be pretty funny. What does that say? First of all, let's look at trading view. Yeah, we're down here in the 50 to 75 to 100, right? So let's change this to 100% from this one to the next one. Changes again. I don't think there's any question that it's going to be the opening range low. And it's going to be in about a minute and a half. Now, this is going to be pretty funny. If they take the opening range low now, before the session, before the opening range is complete, it changes again, and the initial balance, the opening range high, will be formed first. Oh, they did it. So now we have the opening range low second, the opening range high first. So that tips all of this on its head. Now we're talking about over here. And we have to flip the probabilities around because, remember, the determination is going to be, the determination is now we've taken the low, now it's the high was formed first. So 25 to 50, 0 to 25, 25, 50, etc. You assign the percentages backwards. So over here, I need to quickly flip those percentages around, if you see what I'm doing. Now we have that. Still makes no sense. Oh, yes, it makes complete sense. Okay. And we have taken it out already and we've driven past it. So, because here is the opening range, I'll throw that a vertical line on the time. So there's the end of the opening range. This was where it extended, and I didn't do this. Oh, this is really irritating, isn't it? And now we're doing this. So the trade would be, oh, and the percentages are different too. I got to change them all around. What is it now? It's 43. So we got, this is ridiculous. Really. So this changes to 43, huh? 72, 43. Oops, 3. Yeah, so this lower figure is 72, 48, 94. Well, 48, let's call it 49. Okay. And 50 is going to be down here at about 50. So let's not worry so much about that. What is 50? 54, 75. So what a mess. And to change so late like this. This is where it's so convenient to use the trading view thing. What is it? 54.75. That's pretty close. Well, this one needs to come down a little bit too. Might as well do them correctly, I guess. 43. What? 60.81. Let's make it 60.75. Ooh, 60.75. Okay. Those are the zones pretty close. Here we are at the 25. Now what the entry then, including the hedge, would be pull back to the 50 and short. Trading in direction of, so that would be a hedge then, would be at, say, 54.75-ish. That would be 72.54, 72.54, say 55. So this would be our hedge short. There's our entry. Here's our add at 58. There's our scale, or there's our hedge at 58, and averages down here at these 56s. But we haven't gotten up to the 50% zone yet. And we may not. That's how the whole scheme works, including the hedge. So now we can just kind of play it out. Well, let's put the hedge up here. So if I needed to, I would be putting a hedge at 58 right here, right there, long, 1. I would have a 5 lot over here at 55, short, and another one at 58, short. This is a 3-point stop. Whether it's going to backtrack to the 50 or not, who the hell knows? Now we could look at the data about it and see if that might help. And that is done here by retrace. So given where we are with all of the rest of this noise, so there's the breakdown, this one. Doom, de-doom, de-doom, de-doom is all the same. Okay, so we've already made it to the 25, so this 50 is done. We've got a 21% probability it's going to get back to the 50, which is up here. So shorting in this area somewhere is probably not a bad idea. I mean, it's not bad trading. Will it ever get clear back to the 50? Well, it's only going to, it has a very small probability of doing that. The problem with tonight in particular is this mega drama with Iran. So let's just see if I'm going to be, well, if I don't enter at 58, I'll have to get my hedges and stuff set up for another one. Let's What should we say? 52s? Maybe here, let's say 52. Let's put the in 72, 52. Okay, our hedge is going to be at 55s. Okay. Didn't get it. Probably missed it right there on the VPOC migration. The short would have been right around here, I guess. 51 quarters. Or 51s. The hedge. And one of the problems with this one is, with the opening range for this Globex, typically I change all of the data around and the session and everything to look at Tokyo. And I don't want to be sitting here, you know, once I'm in a trade, how do I manage out of it without having it take all night? You know what I mean? Now, if I clearly missed the bet right here, and that's a real judgment call with this hedge idea, or with this particular hedge fund idea, because it's 30-something% to reach the 50, and it's a 70 whatever it was over here. What is it? 50% and 21, or 22. So it's 50% we get here. We did that, no question about it. We didn't make it up here. That was 21%. But somewhere in the middle there, like I was just pointing out, 51s and 52s, that's a reasonable, that could be a reasonable entry. I don't think I'm going to get an entry here. And of course, what happens with the hedges, it is just a well, it's taken off without us. Now, this would have been lovely. This is 10, coming on 10 points here if I'd have gone on that one, right? Would have been a lovely entry and trade. And the thing about the hedge, it is simply a trade management alternative to a full stop. Absolutely never trade without a stop. I don't. So that's what it is. And in the case of this particular, had I gotten on right here, oh, look at them flashing at 52s now. Had I gotten on right here, this, I would be managing this just as a normal trade, because it hasn't come back and triggered the hedge. So I would be managing this down by trailing the stop. Damn it, look at that go, and I'm standing here like a dunce and missed it. I'm not going to chase it. But you see what happens, and there is coming on 10 points. So that it, taking the trades, by the data, by the zones, has got good merit. And I have done this twice now, missed an entry. I have to have this well thought out in my mind, how I'm going to do this. This ain't working, I mean, this would be a nice trade right now, and call that take profit and adios amigos. That's how I would regulate the time, is by the take profit targets. And this is essentially the take profit. Could always leave a runner or something silly like that, but you know, that's a real poor example of trading, not taking this, waiting for it to go another, you know, talk about a dick for a tick. Oof. Well, we have another opportunity coming up in another 45 minutes or so. We've got the Tokyo. So let's see what happens there. That's encouraging that I've gotten those understood. And you see how the trade would set up. Just missed the entry right there. Had some and it could just really rip. It's going to be really dependent on this geopolitical stuff. There's a lot of dangerous news going around right now. This thing could fall out the bottom, in which case you would certainly want to be on a short. Like right now, if I were on that short, that would be pretty magic. Headed for the 33s down here, I'm guessing. But I'm not, so. Damn. I am not. I'm going to go get a glass of tea, though. Let's see. Is everything working here? Let's just check. There's the hedge. There's the hedge tool. If there's any questions about that, drop something in the chat. I'm happy to go over it. Otherwise, let's get back to here. This little white nub down here now, we're below today's range, so we're in new territory, baby. Previous RTH low is right up under here, I think. Right there. Boy, that's irritating. Man. FOMO. Well, don't do as I do, do as I say, I guess. That's the opposite way to raise kids, but man, to be right here hovering on the trigger and looking for one more tick or two, which is all clearly captured here in the stream. I'm going to put that in there actually, and that's going to be a misvetted trade. Okay. And that's about what? 15 minutes, I guess. Damn. I can't do this. I've got a problem with paralysis by analysis here. I've got to I don't know whether it's the stream I don't think so. I'm not gun shy at all about doing stuff in front of people, but I need to, I really, this cannot continue. That I should be on this trade. I should be short and be well in the money right now with the entire package. And if I, part of my trade plan, discipline, I'm not going to chase. I'm not going to FOMO, any of that stuff. And there's no, this initial balance setup or opening range setup and everything is over now. There's no more of it going to happen. Now, Tokyo's going to come online at the top of the next hour, and I'll start this whole process over again. But at the moment, this is done like dinner. So what am I doing? I'm at the bus stop waiting for the next bus, baby. And here we are with our easy to look at trading view. Yeah. And there we are. Okay, and what I'm going to do now here, just in advance, I'm going to change to the Tokyo dashboard. It will automatically start plotting when Asia comes up, just as the initial balance does. But the story with these dashboards is I can't figure out a way to stagger them, and they just slop on top of each other. So, oops. This is what I'm going to do. What can I say? By the way, these indicators, hold on, one thing at a time. That's why I stream. I can't multitask very well. Okay, these indicators here, these are the few that I use, are included with your Edgeful subscription. These indicators right here. And I use the Session, the IB, the opening candle continuation, and these are the opening range indicators I've configured to look like this. That's all I use. There's probably a lot of other ones. Well, there are a buttload of other ones. And look at it go, man. I would be now needing to shut the trade off because I would be over the 50% consistency thing. Yeah. That's a good problem to have. This is pretty disappointing. Pretty darn disappointing. And I'm real curious to see the reaction of the opening range in Tokyo. One thing I like about this evening trade so far is it seems to be a lot less drama. Methodical moves. Now, this is only 20, this is 20 handles. That's a pretty wide opening range. Oh, look here. Something happened there. That's news. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. Yeah, something's going on. That's for sure. That's for sure. And I have no trades here. I mean, I wouldn't, if I said I did, I'd be lying. And would you short there? That's talk after all of the logic for the short is out the door. No way, Jose. I wonder what this is, though. Let's see if Bloomberg's got something going on here. Come on, Walter. Come up here and say hi to it. Boom. 1 hour. Nothing different than the last time I looked. Might be in bed, I don't know. And where the hell are we going here? Let's get over here, if I can find here. There we go. Let's take a look at this. What's going on with the financial use? Oh, he leaves the door aisle. So we're having airstrikes, and they're going to, and he's calling them like it's a damn, people are dying, and it's like reality TV. I just really disgusted with this. Some of the things this administration does is just amazing to me. This is like, you know, like as U.S. jets are flying over Iranian airspace now, and we're going to, our attacks will be over soon. And this is a military action. People's lives in danger, people being killed. I don't think that's very responsible. It blows my mind, actually. But this is exactly why we have this pop. Something it's going to be over soon, I guess. So that means we popped right here to the liquidity at the 56. Now you see, I should have shorted 55 like I had my original entry. No way. As far as I'm concerned with these opening range and initial balance trades, it's one and done, baby. I don't think that any of that data is for, you know, gimmies or do-overs. I could be full of crap as a Christmas goose too, but I don't think so. So, yeah, well, I'm really pleased that that worked. Quite pleased. Now we've got about another 35, 40 minutes till 1900, and I will erase all of these beautiful artwork that I have here, except for the original Blue Boy on the system, the session print, first session print for the ETH session. And I'll replace it with a new one for the Tokyo, and then we'll do all the levels again, and hopefully there'll be a trade there, like there was here that I missed by being a donkey. Hey, Steven. Yeah. Sure as hell. How you doing? I just was a dick for a tick right here. Setup was perfect, and I narrated the whole thing, and I was looking for the threes, dick for a tick, and there was the setup. And then I guess you're aware of all this drama going on in the news, right? You know what's up with Trump is narrating, announcing the war to Fox News. Our airplanes are over Iran airspace now, and on and on and on. I think it's just amazing that that's going on, but yeah, whatever. You can see it all over here, and that's the reason for all this stuff. So it is a pretty volatile afternoon. I hope your day is going good, and you are trading up a storm, my brother. I'm really disappointed because this would have been, well, that's Monkey Boy talking there, but I am disappointed in myself for not taking that trade when I clearly planned it and narrated it and was just a dick for a tick. And note to self, I also have a new watch or a new tell. This was the impetus that sent it on its way, right? So, assuming I'm waffling around here about, well, I want another tick or two when this kind of migration happens, put on the trade right away. Now it's going to be pretty dicey with all the news that's happening and with the me too, absolutely. But I'm wondering what Tokyo's going to look like, though. This was a real methodical open and played out perfectly. Had this little kind of a hiccup, which was pretty interesting. Put in a new IB low down here, which changed the whole dynamic of the statistics. Until this happened, the IB low was formed first, and the IB high was formed second. then this happened. And consequently, right here, that changed the dynamic. So the IB high was formed first, the IB low was formed second. That changed the ending zone percentages, which put this whole thing perfect for a short. And it pulled right back to the 25, and I was looking for it to get about halfway between the 55 and 20. And I have the yeah, now watch this dump. Now they just closed the Straits of Hormuz again. And I had the hedge and everything all set up for the trade, including I had done my math over here and everything. So that was ready to rock. Anyway, next bus, right? Waiting for the bus. Now I have the right dashboard. We'll start seeing Asia here pretty quick. Worry about the stats at that point. Mm-hmm. Boom. Yeah, I don't know what to think. I never watched any of that stuff. I was out of the country pretty much. So, I hope your trading's been going good. I'm trying to hold the line on this data and, vetted trading, but I'm reaching the do it or go do something else point pretty quick. Yeah. You know how they say there's those things you always remember, like where you were standing when you heard JFK was shot and that kind of thing. I'll never forget the reaction when we were in Kuala Lumpur, when Trump was elected to president the first time. And that moment that I heard that, the first thought that went through my mind was, my God, what's happened to the education quality in America? My country. That's what I told my wife. I said, I don't know. She said, what happened? How did this happen? I said, that's all I can think. And now we're at Trump 0.2 or whatever it is. Version 2. Wow. I'm not saying I was right or wrong, but that's the first thought that went through my mind. Well, I'm afraid the volatility is going to be pretty nuts for the Tokyo session, but I'm going to keep going here until I've been running these now every day until about 8:30, about 20:30. By then I'm pooped, and depending on when I've got to get up for TAM and all that. So they're going to complete the Straits of Hormuz are closed until further notice, according to the Iranian Navy. And that's going to help a lot. I'm surprised. Did crude oil just now go through the roof, I suppose? To the moon, Alice, right? Jesus never quits. What am I doing? Here we go. The hell was that? Oh, Okay. Tomorrow's PPI, by the way, so be careful about that one. There's PPI and jobless claims, so those are both 3-tier, and I don't know who your broker might be, but AMP, for example, at 1700 tonight, AMP raises the intraday margin requirement for 4 reports, PPI being one of them. Until after the report, it's up to 25%. So from $500, it goes to like 6,000. Can ruin your day for a margin call. What else is going on? Wow, this is going to turn upside down, and it looks to me like it's going to turn bad in a hurry. Well, Stephen, are you familiar with the Walter Bloomberg thing? Have I told you about that? I'm sure I probably have. Iranian state media says initial reports indicate U.S. ships near the Straits of Hormuz have all been targeted by missile and drones launched by the Iranian armed forces. 1 hour ago, crude jumps $2 in early trade after the U.S. launches. Well, there you go. So, I'm sorry. Okay. On Twitter or X, I guess. I'm not a member of any of that, so you don't have to be. But I can't show it on my computer, the trading machine, which is where the stream is generating from. But you go to Twitter and you search for Walter, next word Bloomberg, at Delta 1. This is a Swiss guy. Been doing it a long time. This is a Swiss guy who has a Bloomberg terminal. And he posts anything that comes down the pipe on the Bloomberg terminal to do with what we're doing. And it'll be, the posts are in all caps if it came off the terminal. And I was just reading it now. That's what I was reading out loud that he's just posted. And there's a timestamp on him, of course. This one is 1 hour. Iran state media says initial reports indicate U.S. ships near Strait of Hormuz targeted by missile and drone launches by Iranian armed forces. 1 hour. The thing about crude oil. You can get your own Bloomberg terminal, of course. It's about $2,600 a month. It's like 32 grand a year. I don't know how he has his, or maybe it's just from his company, and I guess they don't care because he's been doing this a long time. But it's great, and he's usually way ahead of financial Jews. Yeah, you bet. I find it real informative. And, he's in Switzerland, so sometimes I'm sure he's sleeping, you know what I mean? But like right now, he's all over it. And if I can find it, anybody can, because I don't know any of those social media things, and I would never join X or Twitter, whatever it was or is. Probably. So, got 25 minutes till the close of this one, and we move on to the next one. What I'm going to do now, because I'm not, this is over. As far as I'm concerned on these opening range trades in the Globex, they're one and done. So I'll remove these drawings. because these are just rudimentary lines I'm putting on to define the opening range and the zones. I'm not going to bother building all the stuff in IRT and have it push over here to Bookmap for nothing, you know. That's pretty stupid. There we go. Now, there we go. So we'll be waiting for 1900. Absolutely. Things gonna go south in a big hurry. I'm afraid. More south than it already is, I guess. Pretty far south already.
Here it is. This could be a big one. There's the cross. He rises to meet it. And it's a... Gone!
this tournament, every corner kick goal is your chance to win a car. When the ref signals a corner, post hashtag on every corner, hashtag sweepstakes on X, and tag Enterprise. And you could win this.
I don't usually ever hear the music. I happen to have my headset on to see what this Latin jazz is like. And I just heard all this babbling in the background about hashtags, something or another. I have vocals off, instrumentals only. I don't know what that's about. We'll see what happens. Anyway, get ready to start looking at the next Tokyo. Out the top we go. And something else here. Let's go with that old time favorite. See what that sounds like. don't know if there's any background noise. Somebody let me know. Yeah, it's still a pretty tight auction. I mean, considering what's going on geopolitically. Range is pretty dramatic for this. What is it, 55 handles? Basically 55 handles for the opening range Globex, but I guess that's everybody's used to it now. I'm going to change the data stuff around here now and start looking at the Asia will start plotting over here pretty quick. That's ready to go. Now I need to change this one from Globex to that one. Might change that to a Chicago one so I can keep myself organized, but so let's start over. Now, important to remember that this is Thursday's trade, because it is Thursday we're looking at, right? It's tomorrow. 83% probability we're going to break out. Okay. How does that work? Oh, this is that 15-minute thing. This is not... They don't have an hour here. This is some sort of a thing that comes from the What's in Play story. And I keep forgetting to mention to them that they need to either change this so that these values can be correct, or how do you turn the thing off, or, you know, get it out of the way, or do something to... Besides, it's just confusing to me. So, here we go. Weekdays. Let's see what we got customized. Well, we don't want to have the 5-day, through day, by week, by hour. Okay. So there's the breakout, the breakdown, and double breaks. No internals. 2 years. Now let's close in the back to the normal 6 months and see what happens. 2020 and a double. Okay. And let's look at by rejection. This is, I think, my most... I find this probably the most valuable report so far. Well, we don't have an IB set formed first yet, but we understand what's going on now. Make sure these are all tidied up. Thursday, okay. From that. All right, so we'll see how it goes here from the after we open in 8 minutes, 7.5 minutes. Just getting up to speed. Man, I am so disappointed I didn't take that trade. Yeah, that's really, I've got to deal with that. I have definitely got to deal with that. We've all got our demons, you know. I don't over trading, chasing, moving stops, that kind of stuff is just not even in my, I don't even really feel motivated for that. You know, it's not even part of the monkey boy I've got to watch out for. But like this paralysis by analysis and wanting to be, the desire to be right thing, it's all the same crap. It's just, you know, a different manifestation of monkey boy. Monkey boy or monkey mind being my euphemism about our psychological stuff, that baggage that has come down with us from evolution. And I think it's important to remember that you're never going to eliminate it. People, I'm going to get over, you know, I'm going to get that out of my, that's not going to happen. Any more so than you're going to, you know, you're going to not produce dopamine or adrenaline. Of course you are. It's a part of our wiring. It's in our DNA. My approach to it is, and I've got to figure out why I'm not doing this, you know, why I'm letting myself hesitate on these entries that are setups that I want. I'm not taking setups that I haven't vetted, you know, but like hesitate here, did it last week on a big one that moved perfectly. That's my monkey, that's my demon, that's my monkey boy to deal with. But the thing that I find, and maybe this is my problem, my solution to it is be aware of myself here and now. You know, if I feel dopamine or adrenaline or you know, monkey boy whispering in my ear, oh, take the trade, or something like that, I just ask him to go out and play in the backyard and don't act on it. Because I don't think we're ever gonna, that's my way of dealing with it or controlling it, is just as a suggestion. Denying it or saying you're gonna overcome it or eliminate it is, I think, futile and a waste of time, actually. Now I've got to deal with this a couple times now in the last 10 days where I've missed fantastic trades set up exactly the way they're supposed to, by the data, anticipated, you know, the whole story. Anticipate the setup, I watch it manifest, the trigger happens, and I don't execute, which means then I don't manage the trade after that. But that's the problem. Last week I put the trades on, actually, including the hedge, and it just didn't come back and take me in. I don't ever chase, so that's not a problem. But, you know, that's my cross to bear. That's my demon, I guess. Well, speaking of demons, hi, fat girl. Fat Panda's in here to say hi. What's up, girl? Did you have a big sleep? Okay, we're gonna light this candle here in another couple of minutes. About 3.5 to be exact. And then I'm gonna be, I'm real enthusiastic that these, or hopeful, I guess is better, that these time zones here for these opening range trades prove to be good solution, you know, good opportunities, because I need to have some bandwidth until we get this schedule of TM worked out, and, you know, leaving at having to leave the desk at 9:30, just when my time, just when the IB sets, right? Things like that are not conducive to, puts me off mentally, in that I'm, you know, damn, I should be at the desk, I should be doing this, and so and it also eliminates the possibility of that particular setup or trade. So I'm hoping this this does. Now, tonight, if I'd have taken this trade, I would be fat, dumb, and happy here. On this way I've got this thing configured with those Lucid accounts. And here we go. Ooh, I'm excited. Just can't hide it. Yeah, what's up, little meowy puss? Okay, wait on, hold on. I'll take you out to the kitchen. Let's just see. Okay. What do you want? Me, homie? What do you want? Hmm? Okay. Here we go for Asia. So I'm going to put the vertical on for the Asia, Tokyo, Smokyo, Tokyo. There we go. So there's the first print. Let's see what we see. One of the bigger things that I'm real vigilant about. For example, it's obviously frustrated that I was a dick for a tick over here. So the back of my mind is really, I don't want to revenge. I'm no revenge trading. I want to be real methodical about any setups that might appear in this session that I'm watching now, based on that. And I'm not sure whether that's overboard or what, but that's this is my journal. So the theory about these, to anybody that Stephen knows, but is everything I see on the screens here is captured in the video, and my voiceover is how I get what I'm thinking at the moment into the stream and into the recording. So the record, for the record, Your Honor. And Tokyo could be a complete dud based on this story. So let's see now. We're printing Asia. Yep, we're printing Asia. Okay, that's good. Once we determine what's going to do who and when, we'll have that figured out. In the meantime, we're just kind of in the hole here, I think. There's New York, Asia. If I was a good code monkey, I would, I'd write an open, an initial balance and session prices indicator for Bookmap. The thing about it is you cannot do that in Bookmap because the data isn't in the database form like it is historically, like it is in IRT, and even IRT isn't. They rely on the DTNIQ feed for the historical data. That's what happened over here too in the replays. But as far as like the session prices with yesterday and last week and all those kind of things, I don't think that data would be easily accessed in Bookmap. That could be completely full of crap too. It might be as or more easier than it is in IRT. I don't know. But that would be nice to eliminate that loop. Just doing a mental inventory of what I really use this stuff for, Anton's real enthusiastic about the ATAS platform. He says that's swears by it. Swears by it. That doesn't sound very good. I'm gonna look for some. While I'm standing here doing nothing, I never sort through this music stuff very much. Well, this is getting off to a whole lot of nothing over here. Now, it's really important to realize the range is greatly increased. This is 1 point high we've got on the scale, so that's what works good for me. When I lose track of the scale or lose sense of scale when it gets, 5. I noticed that this is 5 handles, for example. I'm thinking, well, this is going no place. And then I look over and notice that the damn range is so wide. The volatility, like today, not very pretty. Well, so far, the orb high is the first to be formed. That undoubtedly won't last long. We're only in the session 12 minutes. So there we go. But I'll start with the lines just to get them out and dust them off. Thinking full well that they're gonna be surpassed We're gonna get a new orb higher in about a blink of an eye. And we're only looking at 12 3/4 points so far. Oh, what's this all about? I don't want to do that. The hell's that? Oops. Sorry. Yeah, that's, craziness extraordinaire there. Magic. The magic of... Hey, Steven, you don't happen to trade with a Mac, do you? Anton is looking to switch his gear out. He's quite keen on a mini Mac or a Mac Mini M4 with 48 gigs of RAM, and I'm not sure which of the core CPUs or GPUs he's thinking about. I'm not sure that he's got that far yet, but I don't, and I don't know any. I've asked the guys over at Static, Rod, and those guys, because I know Rod was trading on an Apple, but I'm real curious to see how he comes up with it, because I'm pretty disappointed with Windows 11 and all the craziness they do with OneDrive and all of that with Windows. And it would be sweet, if Mac makes great graphic stuff. So there's a new high. Thank you so much. So we'll show these guys who's boss. We'll just do this right here. There you go. How about that? Anymore? Show you who's boss. Look out. Here we go. I'm saying news driven. Now Asia ought to be pretty thoroughly. It ought to be a big sell-off if this craziness continues over there in Iran and the Straits. But this is obviously news. There's no question about that. So, that's going to really skew the statistics and maybe preclude a ability or any kind of an opportunity here. Thank you. Thank you, administrative boys, girls. Let's see what Walter had to say. Nothing. He might be offline. Don't blame him. Oh, this is ridiculous. Now, in another world, you could say, well, they're trying to squeeze out some of the shorts from today, but we've also got bombers and around blowing stuff up. Jesus. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder how this is going to affect that. We'll just have to see. PPI is tomorrow also. That's one of the 4 margin rate increases that AMP uses anyway. I don't know about other brokers. It's recommended by the CME, but I don't know. Who knows? I've had other brokers, but it's a long time and I don't remember that, to be honest with you. $82.5, huh? This is irritating. I wish, boy, I'm even more disappointed I wussed out on this trade right here. I would not be worrying about this at all right now. And now I'm trying to, focus and keep my energy up that I'm ready to take a trade should it present. And yeah. This has got nothing to do with any kind of statistical thing, but boy, is that a classic V reversal, right? 82 to 70, so that's 12 handles right there. Of course, how do you trade that? Maybe here and get on. I don't know. It's got nothing to do with the stats I'm looking at, so I'm just talking here. Push that range out now so far to 37 handles. And we got a long way to go. We're only in at 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So under this present configuration then, the approach to the statistics would be that at this moment, and it could change for sure, the IV low was put in first. At one, when we started it was the high. Then this happened, and now, so this occurred after this, so the IV low is the first formed. And that makes a big difference over here. Right here. Formed first, low formed first. In that case, this zone, this opening range, this session, MES, looking back 6 months, there is a 58% probability we'll break out of the high. That the IB high will be the first break, and 41% it'll be the IB low. This, of course, makes no judgment about the size of the range or this news blurb over here. You can filter by size, which is I haven't messed with yet. There's a lot of ways you can slice and dice this data, which is pretty great. and do it, expeditiously and effectively without coding something up or, Pythoning somewhere or, any size. So here's the different orbs. These are percentage of the average true range. This is what I focus on, the days and the ending range. So we'll see how that plays out. These zones are going to be pretty significant too with the width of that range. So we got 82, 75, and 45. I'll plug those numbers into my handy dandy little tool there and come up with the zone splits. $37 points, is that right? I think so. Yep. 37 handles. Well, let's see what we got here. So it's 82.75 and 45.75. So these would be the zones, assuming that they don't change that. Go punching those out. And as white as it is, it's quite possible that they will just trade it inside here, I think. We have to remember the statistics that are generated, they're kind of like, they're like the statistics in IRT for the session prices here, the opening, the statistical opens stats. There's two criteria, and it, literally bombing the Straits of Hormuz or whatever else, or the price of crude has got nothing to do with it. I'm not saying that's good, but that's the way it is. And I think, and obviously that's the case here, because what we're talking about, that's current data, and that's not what this is. This is not live data. That'd be pretty cool. wonder what that orb size thing does. I've never even goofed around with it. So let's see what, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to, okay, let's see what this one does. Ooh, it's got a pretty big impact, huh? Wow. Well, Mom just made a big thing of spaghetti and everything for you. You could. So yeah, that's quite a dramatic impact over here. Impact. I have yeah. Well. Okay. Well, there's the first 30 minutes, boys and girls. I'm real disappointed about that news thing. It is what it is, but you know, it's disappointing. Now, the next thing I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to leave that session alone. Well, there's the first 30 minutes. Oh, no. It's even more so. Well, we've got a little bit left for the opening range to set up here. This expanded range is, I think, got a high probability of just flopping around in the middle. But And the data is not going to know about that, right? I guess I can kind of ease into these levels and see if, in hopes that they sort of hold up. 72, 73 half. Oops, wrong one. There you go. 64 quarter. And 55s. There we have them. Now, if you had a passion for gambling, you could say that you're going to lean on this statistic here of 100 and, well, wait a minute. 65% probability that we're going to take the IB high, and we're at the 50% level, so you go long and front run it. And I don't think, and then this would happen. No sooner do I say that than oops, news. Oops, news. Quite obviously, oops, news. Oh, yeah. I'm all back to the rescue here. Well, they're hugging it out right on the 50-yard line, duking it out on the 50. Mm-mm. So once we get the opening range set in here, I'll get the closing zone placed and look at the retrace story. Seems funny, huh? Doesn't it seem pretty strange that these are 50-50? I mean, Thursdays, the time. Okay. Let's the way these zones are assigned is as follows. So the first, everything in this to do with these particular opening range or initial balance trades pivot a lot on which level was formed first. In this case, the low was formed first and then the high. The expected level to break first, or first break, is the high. Okay? And the way the zone percentages are allocated is based on which was created first or set first. In this case, and the lowest percentage is opposite the first level formed. So 0 in the case of the first level formed is the low, 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. And what those percentages do, the closing zone is whichever one of these zones, the closing price of the opening range, period, whatever, however you have it set, but I have them same as the IB for 1 hour. That is where this, there's the text about it. That's where this data comes from. And it really has a big impact. So there we go. Now you know as much as I do. Coming, we're coming. Well, we're still some minutes away, so I'm going to be dividing my attention to what is this now? What the hell happened? Okay. Christ. Of course. Oh wow! Come on up here and play with us. Play with the group. What's the matter with you? Bashful or what? So yeah. I mean, it's a pretty perfect profile, isn't it? Pretty well balanced. Talk about a balanced auction. And here's our close. So inventory is about 50-50, I'm guessing. Okay, I'm gonna go help Ying with the dinner, and then I will be keeping an eye on this, and we're going to be about 10 or so minutes. Until the opening range is formed, and then we'll know the closing zone and whether it might break or not. Oh, well, this is even more fun. The now, especially in this configuration where the opening range is likely going to close the closing zone here at the remember that the low was put in first, so this is 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75. In this zone up here, very low impact still maintains the probability that the high will be taken out first, but front running this is in no way, in my opinion, a good idea. Well, I don't know. Here now, you see? What a dummy. These are almost 10 handles. So I guess the front run wouldn't be that far out of the question. What I was going to say was I'm waiting for the retrace, which is the correct way to trade it and what was going on over here. So now I'm going to get back to my spaghetti. Let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. So our range is 0 to 25. Let's slap the vertical on him. Close enough. Let's get over here to the data and slap on the closing range beauty, wherever that went. That'll be 0 to 25, so that's not going to affect us anyway. Hello. So we got an 81% probability we're going to take out the IB high, which is pretty, yeah, I believe that. You know? Now, the retrace idea is this. Given all things equal, here, low form first, possibility of, that's breakdown. This is a breakout. So we got a 84%, 64% breakout, 37, 17. So between, this is to pull back to the 25, pull back to the 50. So this says that, this is saying that if it breaks out of the high, there's a 64% probability of pull back to the 25% line zone. And there's the breakout. That's happened just now. So let's assume it's going to pull back to the 72.70 for an entry. I'm just trying to get ahead of this if I can. So let's try to get back to 72.70 over here. That means, and this is going to be a long, not a short. So this means that 72.67 is the ad and the hedge. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Well, we broke her out. We haven't pulled back. Uh-oh. Look at this liquidity at 73. They're gonna suck them up there like a big magnet. So the breakout was the trade, I guess. I mean the front run, but I don't mean that really. Now here's a fact of life. I am not going to be here watching this thing all night. So I'm going to continue to finish my dinner, and bottom of the hour, I'm done with this. I am done with the stream, and obviously my computer will the data will continue to flow, and I'll continue to push this session prices and all that, but I won't be entertaining any trades. I'll disactivate the trade control panel. I can leave these, I don't have to leave the levels on. I know where they are. But I am going to be, I've got to relegate. I need some sleep, get going again. So there's that. Not that I may have any chance, but they're going to take that liquidity at 73 before they come back in the 82s is my prediction. And that, is exactly meaningless. Oh, I am getting pretty tired here. talking to a mute button. Sorry about that. What I was saying was that this is a heightened risk environment. We picked out this liquidity. I'm sure we're going to get to 73.10s for too long. And I'm not going to stand around here. As far as I'm concerned, this is a one and done on these OBs. So I'm not, I'm not contemplating this to come up here 20 handles and then pull back down and have that be any kind of a meaningful setup. Maybe it is for somebody, but it's not for me. Where I dropped the ball was right here. And that would have been lovely. And of course, if you want to be a rearview mirror guru and pick one, you can go back and say how you knew all about that stuff and you were, and that's great, but I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of monitor this out for the next few minutes, and then I'll wind the stream off at the bottom of the hour. Remember that the RTH session, risk neutral trading stream, 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time until 1500. Sorry about that. I don't know if it was on mute or not. What I was saying here was that it doesn't look to me like this whole story is going to end well. We're right back to war. We're doing airstrikes across Iran. So we've got B-2 bombers flying around down there and all this other. And this kind of he said, she said, you did that first nana grade school sophomoric crap is just going to make it worse. We go down there and bomb them, and then they are going to respond. So, then it just escalates, as near as I can tell. So, we'll be waking up to... let's hope. I certainly hope that I don't think that this is spin, Like, for example, Fox News or something stupid like that. That's just, they'll say anything for the soundbite or whatever. But I believe that this is based on something. I would hope to God that it is. This news dissemination. So I wouldn't at all be surprised to wake up and, we're right back in the thick of it again in the morning. Crazy. Oil is already moving. Yeah, so Walter's in bed apparently. Good for him. I'm hot on his trail here. I gotta do a few things here at the house. Now I got take care of the outside stuff and the animals, and yeah. Well, cool. I think that this is pretty So we got another 5 minutes here, and then I'm going to wrap it up in the stream. I've got to do some housekeeping here, back office stuff, and get the stream scheduled and set up for in the morning. Stephen, Magic, whoever, thanks a lot for coming by. I missed that trade, but at least you got to see it and how I set them up. So now I'm going to get rid of all these. Having a Blue Boy convention over here. We got to get rid of that stuff. Because I'll be confused in the morning. I won't know what the hell happened. I'll think we had 3 days starting at once. All right, now we're back to normal. Blue Boy, the original granddaddy Blue Boy of them all right there. The first print of every session. And look what happened. There's the Globex, and here's news, and let's have some more news. And up we go. All right. Get picked up around here and get some water. Okay, 2.5 minutes. Drum roll, please. What happened over here on the big view? Well, there we are. We broke out to the upside substantially. So this is one of those instances where if you told yourself you were if you have a reason and a proper vetting process to take front run trades, it's worked out magic for you. I don't see that to be any different than just slapping a trade on in the middle of any place as far as that goes. So that's not what I'm going to be doing. Thanks a lot for coming by, whomever you are. Always feel free to drop something in the chat. That's that's very much appreciated. This stream is my virtual trading journal, so everything that I see on my monitors here is captured in the video, and my voiceover provides insight as to what I was thinking at that moment. That's how it gets into the stream. This is a new adventure. These Globex trades, or Globex streams, have been going on 2 weeks now, to see if there's some interesting opportunities for the opening range breakouts in these Globex and Asia or Tokyo Opens. The usual, normal, everyday stream is every trading day at 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time. We'll do all the pre-market and set up the statistics here and set up the software, analyze what I figure is going to happen, maybe, on the open. And then we trade the day together until 1500. So thanks a lot for coming by. Like, subscribe. Of course, that'd be an honor. I'd appreciate it very much. And let me see. What else can I do? Well, we got 10 minutes or maybe seconds or something. All right. Remember that get away from the screens, rest your eyes. You need to have a balanced work life, and you need to make sure that you are at the top of your game. Make sure you're well rested, well hydrated. If you're on emotional tilt, throw your mouse out the window. You need to understand that this is one of the most competitive businesses there is. And remember that it's a zero-sum environment. Zero sum. That means that there is, for every buyer, there is a seller. Every time you click buy, somebody has taken the other side of that trade, equally convinced that they're going to be the winner in that relationship that you've just started. There's no possibility that where there are ever more buyers than sellers in the futures market, because it's zero sum. That's why we call them a contract. It's between one buyer and one seller. So all this buying, somebody's on the other side of all of that. Somebody's sitting up here with a bunch of long inventory. Yeah, they could have this, I'm picking a small point of time like a window, right? But think about it. How does that person holding long inventory make money? A short inventory, I'm sorry, because these guys are all long. How do they make money? The market goes up to go down, it goes down to go up. And that's a fact. All right. That's enough of that. I'll see y'all in the morning at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Be there, be square. Well, take care. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. Stephen, have a good one.